Namaskar. We are having a very important discussion on what is the right approach to utilize your first 15 minutes. So pay complete attention onto the discussion. It's a real-time live discussion. We have CA Harinath here, CA Manju here, and we also have Kushal and Vishal who are writing their both groups in November 24. So it's a live discussion. Now what we are trying to arrive here is, can we actually eliminate the decisions to be taken in the 3-hour exam so that the complete energy is used for problem solving. Now what is problem solving? Solving the actual problems. Now what is decision making? Which question to attempt and which question to leave? All of these are decisions. So we have already arrived at a certain phase where it has been decided that we are not studying or we are not going through the first question in the first 15 minutes. I think that is sorted. First question we are not touching because it's compulsory, it's generally a bit difficult. That is sorted. Next is we are starting the question paper from the reverse order 6, 5, 4. So both Vishal and Kushal generally have the habit of going through 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Each of this question processing or question skimming takes 1 minute. So I think that's 5 minutes. We are investing 5 minutes to go through the paper, whereas Hari believes instead of going through all the 5 questions, he prefers to go through 3 questions and then he starts processing or further thinking about one of the questions. That is what happens. And Manju, what's your view on this finally? Between going through all 5 questions or going through 3 questions?
In case of, I'd say going through 3 questions and picking out and processing.
Okay, fair enough. So we have a couple of guys going for all the 5 questions, a couple of them going through 3 questions. Okay, this is one thing which I have to do. Next is a very important thing. The decision to be taken, whether we are taking the first decision to select a question or eliminate a question. So this is what we are looking at. Now Vishal is very clear about this. He says that he always finds one question which he wants to clearly eliminate, so that there will be only 5 questions which have to be attempted, and it is a matter of prioritization. There is no decision of involved here. You just have to prioritize which question you have to answer first. This is about Vishal. We'll get back to him. Now with the rest of them, now Kushal would leave it to the paper. If he believes if it's a problematic or arithmetic paper, it is easy for him to decide which question to eliminate. If it's a paper like auditing, it will be difficult because the delta between question X and question Y would be a bit complicated, especially when there are 3 to 4 bits involved. You don't know which particular question to go about. I think this is where we are at. And moving on, Manju, you want to add an insight in terms of removing the decision, right? So what's your thought on this?
So what worked for me is, when you start with a question paper 6, 5, 4, when you go through those and you know a particular thing, processing one question or 2 rather, and getting the answer sheet, you will have a jump start on the answer. You will not be confused as to what to write, where to write, how to start, etc. So once you have that jump start, your time is saved, you have a proper flow. So I believe that picking and processing a question is very important rather than eliminating a question.
Fair enough. Kushal, what's your thought on this?
So my preference is to eliminate at the start, but as I skim through, prioritization happens a bit naturally. So I also believe that the first 2 questions, if I get it right in terms of my order, then the last 5 minutes of the reading time I usually use to process the first 2 questions which I want to do. And then, as Manju rightly said, to just get a jump start ahead, it really helps. It saves time on the first 2 questions and it builds your confidence as you go ahead.
Okay. Hari?
In the last attempt, I choose last 3 questions, skimming and processing one or top it. And that processing itself took me about 15 minutes. The 15 minutes were over in that
Processing itself.
So the problem I faced is deciding between the other 2
questions
which I need to get on with. So that took me a problem for first 2 papers currently. Later I have gone for the elimination process also. That 15 minutes. So
if I have to simplify this for papers like AFM and FR or advanced accounting for inter, what do you eventually recommend? You experience both, right? And something worked, you're already a chartered accountant. So with that experience, what would you finally recommend? That after going through the questions, should you focus on elimination or should you focus on selection and start writing the paper? What works better?
I'd say both. Select one, process it and eliminate one out of the other. other problems.
Out of 3 questions which you are going through, you're saying one question has to be selected,
Yes.
which you are starting in the beginning.
Yeah.
That is done.
Yes.
And how do you know you have to eliminate one among these 3 because you haven't seen 2 and 3, right?
No, that's what I'm saying. You have to skim again for the other 2 and decide upon between 4 which to eliminate.
Understood. And finally, what's your take on this?
So for me, the initial 15 minutes I try to eliminate one question. After that, I prioritize the question. The first 2 questions should be the best questions. I would be able to fetch at least 90% marks in the first 2 questions. So I prioritize that way, and that's it.
Okay, so we'll put in more work and specific research on this part where the ability to process the question paper in 15 minutes has to improve significantly. We'll get back to you on this. But based on the discussion we had here, I think these are the insights. Don't look at question number 1 in the first 15 minutes. Start the question paper from 6, 5, 4 in that order. And 2 approaches here. Go through 3 questions properly and select 2 questions at least and start writing them in the first 1 hour so that you'll be able to answer 30 marks. This is the approach one, which is work with hurry. The other approach, what Vishal and Vishal are doing is go through all the 5 questions, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2 and pick up 2 questions which you can start with. In the process, if you can eliminate 1 question, that also works. So 1 is eliminated and then you start with it. And Vishal has said that while you are processing it, the priority and the order is automatically processed. So this is where we have arrived at this junction. But what we have to solve further is, what if our assumptions are wrong? What if the question which we thought we know is not something we know? What if we get stuck in the between? What if the other one is a better scoring one? What if there is a hidden twist which we missed out? What if we took a hasty decision? So there are a lot of things which have to be further discussed. But I want you to pay specific attention onto this aspect right from day 1 of your preparation, because on the exam day you have to be prepared for the exam, not for your preparation. So preparation is all about examination, not about your preparation technically. So thank you, Sarvan, for recording this. Hope you also got some insights in this regard. Thank you.